Hey guys, today I want to show you how I made this exploding card, which was basically inspired by the exploding box, if you guys have seen that online. But it's basically a card within an envelope, within another envelope, within another card, and then there's even a traditional card down at the bottom for you to put a message. All right, let's get started.
So I'm going to start with my We Are Memory Keepers envelope punch board. And I'm going to make a variety of different sizes here. So I'm showing you that the first one that I'm going to make is a 4x6 size envelope because that is basically the size of the card that I'm going to be putting on the inside. And I also wanted to make my second envelope inside a bit larger, so I have to make sure that my first envelope, my outer envelope, is going to accommodate that. So I'm going to stick that in there. And something else that I want to address as well is that I am going to be rounding the corners on all of my sides here, or all of my flaps. If you've watched my videos in the past, you'll know I don't normally do that. I usually just round the corner of the top flap that's actually used to close the envelope. But on these, they never actually close fully. You are going to see them, so I do round off all of those corners. And I'm also having to use a set of cardstock, or this particular sheet of cardstock that's not part of the Hooray collection. I didn't get the 12x12 paper, so I had to actually pull this from the carousel stack. It's the one that I had that the colors really matched the Hooray collection the best. So now I'm going to alter this card, and I'm actually going to turn it inside out. So I'm going to trim off the front of it, and what you're seeing right there with that grid pattern is actually the back of the card, and I'm going to make it the front of the card, and then I'm going to put the dog on the inside of the card. So I'm trimming it down and I'm scoring it so that it creates a little flap there that I can attach the front piece, the original front piece, which will now be the inside. So I'm showing you there what that looks like. I'm going to put some ATG adhesive in there and attach that dog piece. Just line it up with the fold. You don't want it to go over the crease. You want it to kind of lay down and then fold your top flap over. And then after I do that, because I had to trim down this grid piece, it is smaller than the dog piece now, so I'm going to trim that down further as well. And that is going to be my first card. So as you saw from the intro, this is basically an envelope with a card inside that has an envelope on top of that with a card, and then another envelope inside of that card. So I'm going to be repeating this process over and over again. And I'm going to go through and I'm actually going to create all of my elements first before I start attaching everything together. So there's my first card, and then I'm going to pull out a piece of yellow cardstock to make my second envelope, which is going to attach to the front of that card. I'm going to make an envelope out of that as well. Now this envelope will actually be closing from the side instead of the top, and to add a little bit of interest, I'm going to fussy cut out that bear, and and he's actually going to hang out on that side flap. And we'll come back to him in a little bit. I'll show you how I attach him and how I get that second envelope to stay closed. Now to create my second card, I am going to use a piece of cardstock from the collection. This is pink with like some holographic words. It's really cool looking. I'm going to trim it down so that it's going to fit inside of my second envelope, and then I'm going to score it and fold it in half. Now I know I wanted to use a cake piece on that, so I'm going to pull it out of the dimensional stickers and stick it on there so that I don't forget. And then the next thing that I'm going to work on is the final envelope that's going to go on the inside of this card. This is going to be a gift card size envelope because I don't want to add too much bulk to this, and I think the card plus a gift card is a really nice gift in and of itself. Now once I have all the separate elements of my card, I'm going to go through and I'm going to start adhering everything together. I'm going to pull out all of my scraps and use those as layering pieces. I'm going to use up a lot of stickers as I decorate this as well, and I'm going to actually cut a couple of slits in my envelopes. So I've already gone ahead and done that with the Yay envelope, as you can see. So the top flap actually just kind of sits or fits into the bottom flap. Now for this envelope, I didn't leave it open. I did actually go ahead and close it up because it's going to hold a gift card. But as you can see, there's a little slit where that top flap just fits right into. So now it's time to prep my yellow envelope so that it can close. I'm closing it up to kind of figure out where I need to make my slits with my X-Acto knife. So I'm using a pencil and just kind of putting little dots on the paper on the flap that will be underneath the flap that I need to cut. So I've made little pencil marks, and I'm going to line up my ruler and use my X-Acto knife to just cut a straight line, and then I'll go back and erase my pencil marks. So I do this on the bottom flap because that is where the top flap fits into, and then I do it on the top flap as well because once that's secured, that's where the side flap will fit into. That one's a little bit trickier because it gets pretty close to the edge of that flap, and you want to make sure that you don't go too far, otherwise you just cut a big hole in your flap basically, and your side flap won't fit in and stay. So now I'm going to attach that bear, and we're going to do some more alterations to him a little bit later. He didn't fit completely inside of the larger envelope when you open up the card, so I end up having to trim him down a little bit further. So now that I've got all of my pieces assembled, it's the fun part. I get to go through and decorate. And what's great is that I finally get to use up a ton of these clear stickers. Because I've got a plain yellow card, and on the inside of my cards as well, they're just plain white. So this works really great with clear stickers because there's no pattern that's going to come showing through. So the focal point ends up being the sticker itself. So after it's all done and decorated, I'm going to take you through some close-ups here, walk you through what it looks like. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope it inspires you to kind of pull out your materials. And this project is a really good stash buster. It uses up quite a bit, and it has a really great wow factor when you're giving something like a simple gift card. I'll see you guys in the next video.